pt3, the coup, in 1799. He used his military popularity to seize power in a coup d'état, replacing the weak government with himself as first consul. Total control. He modernized France, creating the Napoleonic Code, but also brought back stability. In 1804, he crowned himself emperor. Conquest. He spent the next decade defeating the major powers of Europe, Austria, Prussia, Russia, creating a massive empire that stretched from Spain to Poland. The fall. His luck ran out with a disastrous invasion of Russia in 1812. He was eventually defeated at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815 and exiled. The first fall. Russia and Leipzig, 1812 to 1814. The Russian disaster, 1812. Napoleon invaded Russia with over 600,000 men. The Russians used scorched earth tactics, burning their own crops and cities to leave the French with no food. By the time Napoleon retreated in the brutal winter, only a fraction of his army remained. The Battle of Nations, 1813 weakened. Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Leipzig by a massive coalition of Russian, Prussian, Austrian, and Swedish forces. First exile, 1814 coalition forces captured Paris, and Napoleon was forced to abdicate. He was sent to the Mediterranean island of Elba, where he was allowed to rule as a minor sovereign. The final fall, Waterloo, 1815. The 100 Days. After less than a year, Napoleon escaped Elba and returned to France. The French army joined him, and he reclaimed the throne. The Battle of Waterloo. On June 18, 1815, Napoleon met his final match against the British, led by the Duke of Wellington, and the Prussians, led by Marshal Blücher, in modern-day Belgium. Total defeat. The combined Allied forces broke the French lines. Napoleon fled back to Paris and abdicated a second time, ending his rule forever. The end. St. Helena, 1815 to 1821. To ensure he could never return again, the British sent Napoleon to St. Helena, a remote, rocky island in the middle of the South Atlantic. He lived there for 6 years under constant guard, spending his time writing his memoirs, before dying at age 51, likely from stomach cancer. That's it for today. If you guys enjoy the video, please like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Napoleon Bonaparte's rise to power was a masterful combination of military glory, political maneuvering, and a carefully timed coup d'état during a period of national instability. The foundations of power, 1793 to 1798. Napoleon first built his reputation through a series of heroic military successes that made him a household name in France. While the central government, the Directory, was failing. Siege of Toulon, 1793. As a young artillery officer, Napoleon devised the plan to recapture the port of Toulon from the British, earning him a promotion to brigadier general at just 24. 13 Vendémiaire, 1795. Napoleon saved the revolutionary government by using a whiff of grape shot artillery to crush a royalist uprising in Paris. This earned him the trust of the Directory and the command of the Army of Italy, Italian and Egyptian campaigns. His brilliant victories in Italy, 1796 to 1797, turned him into a national hero, although his Egyptian campaign, 1798 to 1799, was a military failure. He used propaganda to frame it as a scientific and cultural triumph, ensuring his popularity remained intact when he returned to France. The coup of 18 Brumaire, November 9 to 10, 1799. By 1799, the Directory was bankrupt and widely detested. Napoleon conspired with Abbé Sieyès and his brother Lucien Bonaparte to overthrow it. Day 1, 18 Brumaire. The conspirators spread rumors of a Jacobin plot to trick the legislative councils into moving to the Château de Saint-Cloud, outside Paris, for protection. Napoleon was given command of all local troops to oversee this move. Day 2, 19 Brumaire. The plan nearly failed when Napoleon addressed the Council of 500. The deputies, realizing it was a coup, attacked him, shouting, "Outlaw him." The save, his brother Lucien, the president of the council, saved the day by telling the soldiers that radical deputies were trying to assassinate Napoleon. In a dramatic gesture, He pointed a sword at Napoleon's chest, swearing to kill him himself if he ever betrayed French liberty. The soldiers then cleared the hall at bayonet point, consolidating the dictatorship. Following the coup, Napoleon outmaneuvered his co-conspirators to become the supreme leader. The consulate, a new government, was formed with 3 consuls, but Napoleon took the title of first consul, which gave him near dictatorial powers. Legitimization. He drafted the Constitution of the Year 8, which was approved by a rigged popular vote, plebiscite. His brother Lucien reportedly doubled the yes votes to create an illusion of overwhelming support. First consul for life and emperor. In 1802, he was declared consul for life, and in 1804, he famously crowned himself Emperor of the French in Notre Dame Cathedral, ending the Republic and starting the First French Empire. France had 2 distinct colonial empires. The first was focused on the Americas, and the second, much larger one, focused on Africa and Southeast Asia. 1. The First Colonial Empire, 17th to 18th century. This era was built on trade, furs, sugar, spices, and the tragic system of plantation slavery. Key territories: New France, Canada and Louisiana. The Caribbean, Saint-Domingue, Haiti, Guadeloupe, Martinique. And trading posts in India and Senegal. The decline: France lost most of these lands to the British after the 7 Years' War, 1763. Later, in 1803, Napoleon sold Louisiana to the US to fund his European wars. 2. The Second Colonial Empire, 19th to 20th century. This is the empire that most people think of today. It began in earnest with the invasion of Algiers in 1830. The scramble for Africa. By the late 1800s, France controlled massive swaths of West Africa, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Mali, and Equatorial Africa, Congo, Gabon, as well as Madagascar. Southeast Asia. France established French Indochina, modern-day Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. The philosophy. Leaders like Jules Ferry justified this through the civilizing mission civilisatrice. A paternalistic idea used to justify the extraction of resources and political control. 3. Decolonization, 1945 to 1962. After World War II, the empire began to crumble as independence movements gained strength. Unlike the British, who mostly withdrew peacefully, France fought 2 major, bloody wars to keep its colonies. Indochina War, 1946 to 1954, ended in a French defeat at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, leading to French withdrawal from Southeast Asia. The Algerian War, 1954 to 1962. This was the most painful chapter. Algeria was considered part of France itself, not just a colony. The war was so brutal it caused the collapse of the French government, the Fourth Republic, and brought Charles de Gaulle back to power to negotiate peace. 4. Modern legacy. Today, France still retains several overseas territories, DROM, such as Guadeloupe, Martinique, French Guiana, Réunion, and Mayotte. These are fully part of France, and their residents are French citizens with the right to vote in national elections. The Second French Empire, 1852 to 1870, is often remembered as a period of massive economic growth and glamour. Led by Napoleon III, the nephew of Napoleon I. Here is how it unfolded. 1. From President to Emperor, 1851 to 1852. Louis Napoleon Bonaparte was elected President of the Second Republic in 1848. However, the law prevented him from running for a second term. The coup. On December 2, 1851, he staged a military coup to seize power. The Crown, after a popular vote, plebiscite, showed massive support. He declared himself Napoleon III, Emperor of the French, exactly 48 years after his uncle's coronation. 2. The Authoritarian Empire, 1852 to 1860. Initially, Napoleon III ruled with absolute control. Order over liberty. He censored the press and exiled political rivals, like the famous writer Victor Hugo.